Everyone, it's time for us to go and compare the Samsung Galaxy Flip 6 that came out just like a couple of weeks ago compared to the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5 that came out last year and see which one is the better one for you. Both these are roughly around the same price. The Fold 5 is a used phone, where the Flip 6 is a brand new device, and there can be lots of interesting overlap here and differences that we can kind of take a look at, because historically, the Folds are more expensive than the Flips, but it's kind of the same thought process. They both flip in and they both kind of fold out. Very cool technology. If you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the Galaxy Fold 5 that came out back in 2023, just like barely even a year ago, on the front of this phone, you are getting two different types of displays, right? So you're getting the standard 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED display, right on the front, very good panel, 120Hz. But when you unfold it, you're getting this 7.6-inch foldable dynamic AMOLED display. So this is a 120Hz panel as well. Very high resolution, very, very good panel as well. Now with this is a different type of folding than the Flip, right? This is a bigger phone and it unfolds into a bigger phone. It's a thick device too. So this one might be a little bit more uncomfortable to use than the Flip. Historically, that's always been the way that these kinds of things kind of ended up happening. So it's a nice thing. I like being able to unfold it into a bigger display, but I will say, looking at both, the cover display on the Fold is more functional than the cover display on the Flip. You can actually use the phone unfolded, where the Flip, you can't really do too much of it without unfolding it and actually using it as a main device. So that's just kind of one thing to kind of keep in mind there. The Flip 6, on the other hand, this phone, two panels as well. On the front, you're getting a 3.4-inch Super AMOLED display, and once again, a very good panel. I like the way it looks, and overall, it's a good-looking device. But unfolded, you're getting this 6.7-inch foldable dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So this one is a little bit functionally better. This is a way better phone in my personal opinion in some ways, because it is you're able to hold it in your hand a little bit more. But the Fold, I think, is more practical. Like the Flip is more practical, but the Fold just, it unfolds into a way bigger phone than you probably expect. And it's actually kind of nice having it on the Fold, but it's much bigger. It takes up more room in your pocket. And, the Fold is way more portable when it kind of comes down to it. Both have USB Type-C ports on the bottom. The sides are very thin when you unfold them, so that's really good. On the back side, you're getting, frosted glass backs or carbon fiber skins on both, depending on which way you kind of go. But the Fold 5 has a triple camera setup. The Flip 6 has a dual camera setup. So this is a very interesting thing because the cameras are slightly different. We'll talk about those in a second, but both are giving you things like, wireless reverse wireless charging, IP certification, different things like that, which is really nice. But that's kind of how both these phones kind of hold up, at least from the exterior. I think the Fold is cooler, but the Flip is more practical, probably for the average person. But a very big thing to keep in mind here too is the fact that the Fold, price-wise, is more expensive overall than the Flip. So when the Folds first come out, right, they came out last year, or they came out for many, many years now, they've always been expensive. They've always been one of the most expensive phones Samsung makes. The Flips are hundreds of dollars cheaper. It's more of the consumer-focused one, I think. But the thing here is that between both, they're kind of around the same price. There's probably a $50 to $100 difference in the used price for a Fold 5 and a brand new price for a Flip 6. So you're not really even saving that much money going to a Flip versus a Fold here. And with the Fold, you're getting last year's best phone, where this year you're getting this year's kind of cool Flip phone, I guess is the best way to put it. I think from a pricing strategy, it's very interesting because they're roughly around the same price. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. But moving back to the camera, this is another very big thing. And this is why the Folds are always better than the Flips, but the S series are better than both of these probably combined. So with the Flip 6, you're getting a dual camera setup, a 50 megapixel wide and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Whereas on the Fold 5, you're getting a triple camera setup. So 50 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So both are very good. I think they're both very solid cameras. But the advantage here for the most part with the Fold is one, on the back side, you're getting the ability of basically filming in 8K resolution. That is a standard amongst all the S series that Samsung makes. And I do think this in and of itself is a very, very big thing to keep in mind, because you're able to go through, pick up a phone like that, and basically get a very solid experience, in my personal opinion, on a device like that. And I do think, once again, this in and of itself is a very, very cool thing. I love being able to pick up a phone and having 8K on my hands, even though I barely even film in it. It's still a really nice feature to have. With the Flip, you're able to do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, but it's a good resolution, but my Galaxy S20 could do 8K back in 2020. So the fact that these phones still can't do 8K is fairly interesting. I feel like there could be some improvements there. What are you going to do? But that is just one other thing to kind of keep in mind here. Once again, not the biggest deal in the world, but just a small little thing that I noticed there too. But from the camera side, I will tell you that kind of covers it up here for the most part. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but the Fold is definitely giving you an overall better experience than the Flip. Also, when it comes down to the software experience, there's a little bit of a difference here too, and this could be the deal breaker for some people depending on which way you want to go. So with the Fold, this type of device is going to be giving you software updates for a couple of more years, right? It's going to be lasting for at least like another 3-4 years of software updates. With the Flip though, this thing is probably going to be lasting for like another 7 years of software updates. So the difference between last year's phones and this year's phones is pretty big because Samsung, for the most part, did a really, really good job at kind of supporting these phones for quite a bit of time. And I think that was a really, really cool thing. So if you are going to go through and pick up a device, I think that's a really cool thing for the most part, of being able to buy a phone on the Flip and having a phone that's going to be lasting for a long time there. With the Fold 5 here, it's going to be lasting still for many more years, but definitely when it comes down to 2, the Flip is going to be giving you an overall better software experience than the Fold. When it comes down to the performance, this is also another very interesting thing here. So on the Flip, you're getting that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside with 12 gigs of RAM. With the Fold, you're getting the 8 Gen 2 chipset inside, so the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I will tell you, in my personal opinion, the difference from the performance side here, there's some differences, but it's not really the biggest thing in the world. Meaning that if you're comparing a phone with the 8 Gen 2 and the 8 Gen 3, the 8 Gen 3 is definitely going to be better. You're going to be getting a very good, experience and everything like that. But definitely between both, there's not really going to be these massive differences anymore, I would say, for these two devices. You can get the same amount of RAM on both. You're getting the same type of experience for the most part too in some cases. And I do think from that side, it kind of makes these phones seem a little bit more interesting and more similar when it kind of comes down to it. I will probably tell you when it comes down to these two devices though, from a performance side, I think you're getting very similar type of experience. And once again, I wouldn't go from one to the other just based off the performance. If you're wanting the better type of phone, definitely the Fold 5 is, not going to be as good as the Fold 6. But that's not to say that the Fold 6 is, or the Fold 5 is terrible or anything. Like, it's one of the best performing phones you can still buy. You are getting a bigger display and stuff, which can be nicer for some people. But the Flip 6 is going to be ever so, a little bit better from the performance side. So to kind of sum it up, what I'll definitely tell you when it comes down to both of these are very solid devices, and I like both of them a lot. But I do look at a device like the Fold, like the Fold 5, as kind of being because it's like last year's better flagship, that's kind of the better one that I kind of think about for some people. If you're okay with having a bigger device, that's kind of the one I'd recommend a majority of people to buy. But the Flip is way more just better, more consumer focused. It's probably more comfortable for a lot of people too. But that's probably the one I'd probably recommend buying. If you have all the money in the world, just go for the Fold 6. But the Flip 6 is a really good upgrade for a lot of people too. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.